So friends, just observe and be fully aware of your breath, of your present state, of your stillness, your calm, and just observe. Just see how divine you are. You are the creator. You are the God. You can create anything you want. See the possibilities inside you. Whatever you want is there. You just have to explore it. It's there within yourself. It's there inside you. You are the part of the source. You have full potential and have all the abilities to create any reality you want in your life. Just believe in that. Believe in yourself. Trust yourself and just observe. Be fully aware of yourself. Last 5 minutes, masters. Just be with yourself. Last 3 minutes. Friends, just be with your divine self. Be with yourself. Be with your beautiful breath, your normal and natural breath. Last 2 minutes, masters. Okay, friends, let's take this opportunity to be thankful, to be grateful for each and everyone and everything you have in your life. Be thankful to Mother Earth. Be thankful to the nature around you. Be thankful to the water kingdom, birds kingdom, animal kingdom, insect kingdom. Just be thankful for everyone. Last 1 minute. Dear friends, be thankful to yourself also. Be grateful to yourself. Give love to yourself first and then others. Be thankful to each and every body part which is working perfectly fine. Be thankful to all the systems around you. Be thankful to your parents. Be thankful to your friends, your colleagues. Last 30 seconds. Bring your awareness back to your body. Try to move your leg a little bit. Try to move your hands a little bit. Feel the movement. Last 5 seconds. Now open up your hands. Now keep both the hands on top of your eyes and feel your own warmth, your own calmness on top of your eyes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly and gently remove your hands from your eyes, and now you can open up your eyes. Dear friends, if you want to remain in the meditation state, you can still continue meditation, and whoever is ready, you can come out of the meditation. You can open up your eyes. Please take your time to open the eyes. Don't be in a hurry. Thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity. Over to you, Sally sir.
Thank you, Kunjalji. Thank you. It's a beautiful meditation we had today. Very deep and so full of energy today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I also welcome all the masters back from your meditative journey, back into your body and body's consciousness. Let us all get ready for knowledge sharing session for today. We are going to be talking about a very important thing: self-love, self-acceptance. Very, very important. Many people do not understand how important it is to have self-love and self-acceptance towards your spiritual progress. This is a very key thing, very fundamental and very key thing that helps us progress rapidly on the spiritual path. So I invite Jasmine ji tonight. She is going to tell us more about self-love, self-acceptance. Welcome, Jasmine ji.
Thank you so much, Shalish sir. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And thank you so much, Kunjal ma'am, for the beautiful and very deep meditation. I absolutely loved it. I did not want to come out of it. And so here I am now. Thank you so much, everyone. So we're going to talk about self-love. I've prepared a little presentation, some slides to facilitate your understanding. So I'm going to share the slides, okay? Okay. Just give me 1 second, please. Okay. Let's see if I'm able to. Right. Let's see if we can share the slides.
Yes, slides are visible now.
Yeah. I just need one more thing. So I'm sorry, just 1 second.
Sure.
My presentation here. I've also made notes because this is a very beautiful, elaborate topic. So
yeah,
there we go. Are you still able to see the slides, the screen?
Yes, we can see the screen. Yes.
Is it okay if I keep it this way? Because my other screen then just disappears. Okay, all right. Yeah. All right. So once again, good evening, dear Divine Masters. Welcome everyone to this beautiful day of meditation and healing and wisdom sharing. Right. So today we're going to talk about my favorite topic, which is self-love, self-approval, and self-acceptance. Yeah. Now, one of the greatest virtues that we need to hone in ourselves is the practice of self-love. And this topic has been most beautifully explained by Louise Hay in her beautiful book, You Can Heal. You can heal your life. Now, ordinarily, if I ask you if you love yourselves, I'm sure all of you are going to say, yes, we love ourselves completely, right? I'm sure everyone says that, right? Is there anyone who says, who wants to tell me if they don't love themselves? Or they love themselves partially, completely? What do you think? You can use a hand raise and let me know if you don't love yourself. Nobody's going to say that, right? Because we all love ourselves, right? Okay. So now, however, when we actually read the book, You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, we really understand what love is in its true sense, okay? So just very briefly, before I get into it in more depth, when we practice self-love, we use two tools. We use self-approval and self-acceptance. Okay, so these are the tools that help us in understanding and completely embracing ourselves, right? These are the two tools which are required to completely love ourselves, right? So we are completely able to love ourselves when we approve of ourselves and when we accept ourselves as we are. Okay, of course, while progressing and improving ourselves, while identifying certain things we need to identify about ourselves, recognizing things we need to recognize about ourselves, and we'll talk about this in detail. Yeah. So this has been beautifully explained by Louise Hay in her book, You Can Heal Your Life. Yeah. Now, Louise Hay talks about it in terms of mind-body medicine. So she has termed this practice of self-love as mind-body medicine. So we'll try to understand this topic through the lens of Louise Hay's philosophy of self-love. So she says that we can transform our lives when we learn to practice self-love in our lives. Yeah. Now, let's try to understand self-love in terms of 4 dimensions, because Louise Hay talks about self-love in terms of 4 important dimensions. Number 1, she talks about the physical dimension. Then she talks about the mental or emotional dimension. Then she talks about the intellectual dimension and the spiritual dimension. So what is the physical dimension? Now, on the physical front, when we practice self-love, we really like to take care of ourselves, right? We want to be healthy. We want to stay fit and healthy. So Louise Hay says that when we love our bodies, when we practice, when we love our physical selves, we take care of the kind of food we eat. We eat nutritious food, we exercise, we look after ourselves, and we consume a healthier, wholesome, plant-based diet. We make an overall effort to adopt a healthier lifestyle. Now, you must be aware that Patriji also gave us 9 jewels of meditation. Yeah. Out of those 9 jewels, one of those jewels says that our body is a temple. Deha hi devalay hai. Which means that we must learn to treat our bodies with reverence, with love and respect. So Louise Hay also talks about how important it is to take care of our physical selves and of our bodies. Yeah. Now, the other dimension she talks about is the mental and the emotional self, right? So the mental and the emotional dimension. On the emotional front, when we love ourselves, we also devote some time to our mental and emotional well-being. So for instance, we engage in activities that really make us happy on the inside. For instance, dancing, singing, doing some kind of art, painting, doing some kind of sports, or anything that really makes us happy on the inside. Anything that fuels our creativity and that makes us really happy on the inside. Then we have the intellectual dimension. At the intellectual level, when you really love yourself, you update yourself with spiritual knowledge. You update yourself with knowledge that adds to your wisdom, right? So you grow intellectually, yeah, and understand the true meaning of life. So you would want to read beautiful books, spiritual books that add to your wisdom, that help you understand the true meaning of life. Yeah, and when you practice self-love at the spiritual level, right, on the spiritual front, when we love ourselves, we engage in meditation, for instance. So right now we are practicing self-love By doing Anapanasati, by doing breath meditation, right? When we connect with nature, again, we love ourselves at the spiritual level, right? We want to do, for instance, practices or activities like grounding. All these are part of your spiritual dimension or self-love at the spiritual level. So when I talk about, so when Louise Hay talks about this, right? So when we're talking about physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual dimensions, all these are actually the parameters to understand and ask ourselves the question, do we really love ourselves? Are we doing these things to truly love ourselves, to truly understand that we love ourselves? Yes. Yeah. So now here, it's also important to note that this is beautiful. Patriji mentioned this, that meditation is the highest expression of self-love. Yeah. So it's the highest expression of self-love for yourself, right? Because meditation helps you understand that you are beyond your physical self, right? It encompasses all these elements. Yeah? It's not just the physical self. You heal physically, you heal emotionally, right? You also acquire intellectual wisdom. You are engaging in spiritual activities. So you're increasing your knowledge, you're reading new books, you're learning about things that you did not know, right? And you understand that you don't know yourself. You humbly understand that you don't know everything. You have to learn. You have to keep on learning. You have to keep on progressing. Yeah? So now, what's the hurdle? Why aren't we doing all of these things, right? Okay, so what is the hurdle? What do you think is the hurdle? I think you can see the slide, so you probably will know what is the next slide here. But I'll tell you anyways, okay? So the hurdle, as per Louise Hay, right? Louise Hay tells us that the biggest hurdle is our own stubborn mind, right? We are most of the times governed by our mind, right? Our mind tends to offer something that she uses, the term she uses is resistance. She says that our mind tends to offer resistance when we have to hone the practice of self-love, right? Every time we want to do something that adds to our own well-being, that adds to our self-love, our mind plays tricks and gives us reasons or excuses for not doing those things. Let me give you an example. And this is an example I have lived myself, right? So if I want to exercise, and this has happened to me like numerous times, I'll tell you, if you want to exercise, for instance, your mind is going to tell you, if you want to exercise in the morning, your mind will tell you, oh, I have to make my breakfast, then I have to send this email. Let me exercise after doing those chores, okay? Now, when you've done those chores, your mind will tell you, it's time to make your lunch. You're going to get late, prepare your lunch, and then you can exercise. You have plenty of time in the evening. You'll do that then. I take my lunch, there comes the evening. Now, no, it's time to prepare your dinner. You have to have an early dinner. So exercise tomorrow morning, wake up early tomorrow morning. So what happened here? These reasons sound very logical, but what is my mind trying to do? It's trying to keep me away from taking that decision, taking out 5-10 minutes for myself, which will add to my own well-being, right? My own self-love, right? Practices that help me add to my self-love. So the question now is that how to deal with our resistant mind. But before that, let's look at the slide. So our mind does what? It likes to dwell in the past. It loves to worry about the future. The future hasn't arrived yet, but it's going to worry about the future. It loves to live in its comfort zone, right? For instance, I'm in a small apartment here, right? I'm a new immigrant here, and my mind tells me so many times that you don't have enough space. Where the hell are you going to exercise? You know, but I can make space. I can move my table. I can make the space, and I can still do the aerobics I want to do. I can still do the exercise I want to do. I can still lay the mat here, my yoga mat, and do the yoga. I can do those things, and I started doing those things. I do those things now because I know how to control my resistant mind. Yeah, it plays tricks to create laziness and procrastination. It loves to be with the familiar. It does not want to step out of its comfort zone. Now, the question is, how do you deal with your resistant mind? right? How do you tackle your resistant mind? Now, the first thing that Louise Hay talks about is change. You have to be prepared to embrace change, right? Change is going to happen. If you don't embrace it, it's still going to happen. You better embrace it with love and kindness and acceptance, okay? And what is change? Change could be, for example, you feeling low because it's raining outside. Is the rain going to stop because you're feeling low? No, you have to embrace it. You have to take out your umbrella and still go for a walk, right? Change comes with patience and with persistence. We are meditating. We're all meditating. Some of us are new beginners. Some of us have been meditating since years and years, right? Now, if you start thinking, I started meditating 10 years ago, or I started meditating, for me personally, 2 years ago. The change did not happen overnight. It happened with persistence. It is still happening with patience and persistence, right? Practice makes perfect, but I'm not going to say practice makes perfect. Actually, practice makes progress, because we're not running after perfection. That is not the way to go about it. But you have to be persistent. You have to practice persistently so that you can see some progress gradually, right? Eventually, not overnight. So you have to remember that change comes with patience and persistence. Yeah, she talks about that. Now, it's also very important to understand, for instance, Patriji talks about why do we need to do 40 days meditation? Why do we have this 40 days challenge of meditation? Why? Because scientifically, it takes about 40 days persistently practicing one habit, practicing something to be able to inculcate that particular habit. Right? That is why practicing or meditating every single day is going to help you inculcate that habit so that you can continue doing that, just like you brush your teeth in the morning. Yeah, it is very, very automatic, right? So it has to be ingrained in your mind. Huh? All right. So now, so what does Louise Hay talk about further? So she talks about resistance of the mind. She talks about how to control that resistance. And now she elaborates and tells us the strategies of self-love, right? So what do we really need to do to understand, to recognize where we are faltering, right? And understand how we can inculcate that self-love. Now, the first thing she talks about is identifying your unhealthy thought patterns, right? What are your unhealthy or negative thought patterns, right? So, many a times we find ourselves being caught up by lower emotions, such as emotions of anger, emotions of irritation, fear, stress, judgment, criticism, all kinds of emotions. So, for instance, we are very quick to judge, where we immediately criticize if something does not go our way, right? We are very quick to form opinions about others. All of these things are negative thought patterns. And it's very important to understand. So she talks about disease, right? She herself healed. She healed herself from a dreadful disease through these, by inculcating these habits and by identifying her own negative thought patterns, for example. So now she says that all disease or dis-ease stems from our negative and suppressed emotions. She herself healed herself. She healed herself by understanding this concept. What are suppressed emotions? Emotions that you don't express, right? Suppressed emotions get stored in your muscles and in your tissues and in your subconscious mind. That is why when Shailesh sir was talking about subconscious mind, this is a very vast and a very important topic. Everything stems through subconscious mind, right? So it's very important to release those suppressed emotions that are hiding in your subconscious mind. What happens? For example, you look at somebody and you say that, oh, this person, I get irritated when I look at this person. Oh, I get irritated when this person says this particular thing, right? Why? Because there is something either in this lifetime or something stemming from previous lifetime or your experiences that have been sitting in your subconscious mind that are causing this reaction, right? And not a response, it's a reaction, yeah? So just like we clean our house every day, right? And we feel so better, right? So just like we clean our house, we have to detox our mind as well. We have to clean our mind as well of the baggage that we're carrying, of the emotional baggage that we're carrying, right? So we have to release our suppressed emotions, right? So this brings us to our second point, releasing your unhealthy thoughts or your suppressed emotions. Now, how do we do that? She talks about three very important things. The first thing she talks about is practice of letting go. Letting go of the things that are holding you, of the emotions that are holding you. And she gives us three strategies of practicing letting go. Number one, releasing your unhealthy habits or unhealthy emotions through mirror work. This is a very powerful technique, right? Speaking in front of the mirror, right? So looking at yourself, looking in your eyes and affirming, using positive affirmations, avoiding negative wording, changing your narrative. Okay, I'm not going to go in detail because we don't have a lot of time to go in detail for this, but I'm sure, Shailesh, if you'll have, you're an expert, you're a subject matter expert, so you can add more things after I'm done, right? Otherwise, I can talk about it forever and ever. This is my favorite topic, right? So, and also one thing I would suggest is read her book, okay, Mirror Work. I bought this book and this is absolutely beautiful. And I'll give you one example from her book. The first day of mirror work exercise, she says, if you want to practice self-love, if you, for example, think that you're not good looking enough, because this is one problem every human being faces. We all tend to find some kind of fault in how we look, right? The nose isn't perfect, the eyes aren't perfect, and so things like that. So this is one thing that you can do. Look in your eyes, stand in front of the mirror, your bathroom mirror. I'm reading this from Louise Hay's book. So she says, take a deep breath and say this affirmation. I want to like you. I want to really learn to love you. Let's go for it and really have some fun. Take another deep breath and say, I'm learning to really like you. I'm learning to really love you, right? And you repeat this affirmation now and then, every single time you pass a mirror. Would say it silently, whether you're in your office, whether you're at your work, whether you're at home, or whether you're outside, and you pass a mirror and say this silently to yourself. I love you. I love myself. I'm learning to love myself. I completely accept myself. Yeah. So this is one example of mirror work. Releasing unhealthy emotions, meaning not falling in the trap of criticizing yourself. Okay. And releasing those emotions and practicing self-love through affirmations, mirror work. The other thing is writing affirmations. This is again very powerful. This is scientifically proven. Your neurons do some magic when you write down your affirmations and you feel every single thing that you're writing down and you're putting on the paper, right? You're not just saying it. You're not just writing randomly. You're writing down with emotion, right? And the other thing she talks about is using some physical practices or some techniques. So for instance, if there's someone in your life you don't like, right? Or someone in your life who has hurt you and you're not able to forgive them, for example, right? This is also something that you can do. This is also the forgiveness exercise, yeah? So what you can do is you can imagine yourself, for instance, being in a dark theater, and the person that you cannot forgive or you do not like is on the spotlight, is on the stage and on the spotlight. And then instead of criticizing or falling in that trap of criticism, not liking this person, you start looking for what's the good in that person. Okay, because remember that in the book of Mirdad, for example, if anyone has read the book of Mirdad says he was an intellectual, he was a spiritual, an enlightened master. He says that if you have one enemy, even if you have one enemy, there's a high probability that you don't have any friends. Because for you, that person is an enemy, but that particular person who you think is an enemy has so many friends, right? There's got to be some really good things about him, right? So you have to understand and change your perspective that the emotion or the whatever you're seeing in the other person also exists in you, right? You have to remember that what you see in other actually is also part of you. So if you dislike someone, that's the habit in you as well. You have the emotion of dislike, you have the emotion of hatred. That is why you don't like someone and you hate someone, right? So you have to think about it this way and then come back to working on yourself, right? Because there is no one who is perfect. And always remember that we all are consciousnesses who are evolving. There is no one who is nobody is making mistakes. We all are reacting or acting based on our understanding of life, based on our perspective, right? So we have to understand that we all are constantly evolving. Yeah, we all are constantly on that path of evolution. Right? So we have to, so Louis he says that we have to stop looking at other people's mistakes. You have to stop seeing the mistakes made by other people as mistakes. They are not mistakes, they are simply stepping stones to success or stepping stones to further progress and learning. They are learning, they're here to learn. Everyone here is here to learn, right? Because beyond the physical, we are actually, first of all, souled beings here to have an earthly experience because we are here to learn. Yeah. So this is one thing she talks about. Now, the other thing she talks about is controlling your mind or culture of the mind. Control of our mind or culture of our mind. Now, our mind is a poor master. She says that our mind is a poor master, but it can be a great servant. In other words, that we must be able to govern our mind before it tries to control us or control or govern our lives, right? And the best way to do that is by practicing meditation, right? The best way to control our mind or help our mind come out of the distractions is by meditation, right? Because what happens when we meditate? The lower emotions of fear, anger, irritation, anything, all the lower emotions, they get transmuted into higher emotions of love, acceptance, understanding, higher emotions of gratitude, compassion, and oneness. And I, for example, if I give you my example, there was somebody I did not like. And after I got into meditation, and every time I meditate, I have nothing but the most loving emotions for this person, right? And I have experienced it firsthand. And this actually happens gradually. This happens. You will not even know when this happens, right? Eventually, you'll start thinking everyone is love. Everyone is same. Everybody, I exist in everyone, and everyone exists in me. Why? Because we are all pieces of the broken mirror, the same mirror, right? It's like we're broken pieces of the same mirror, right? So it's very important to meditate because meditation is the highest expression of self-love. And the third very important point she talks about is forgiveness, right? Forgiveness. It is so important. Every single day we need to practice forgiveness. But the most important thing is that we need to first start forgiving ourselves before we forgive others, right? We must learn to forgive ourselves before we forgive others. How can we do that? Again, by practicing mirror work, right? Saying affirmations, forgiveness affirmations in front of the mirror and saying them with emotion. We must also write affirmations. We can also do visualization exercise. I'm sorry for this mistake. We can also start understanding the bigger picture. Right? What do you mean by start understanding the bigger picture? For example, understanding the bigger picture, meaning understanding the bigger scheme of things. Yeah. So for example, if you don't like someone, you have to first understand what was their history. Did they have any physical ailment? Did they have any emotional issues? What was their history? Were they loved enough? What did they go through that made them react a certain way, that made them hurt you or hurt anybody else, right? So when you understand the bigger picture, you start forgiving others. And when you understand your own history, revisit your history, where are you coming from, right? You start also forgiving yourself, right? So this brings me to the end of this session. I'm sorry if I took longer, but this is such a huge topic, right? And just one last thing I wanted to add is the litmus test of your soul. And I just want to add this because this is very important. Once you've gone through all the practices or the strategies of self-love and forgiveness, you must do this litmus test of your soul. If you have forgiven the other person, somebody XYZ, and if this person reappears, when this person reappears, how do you react? How do you react or do you respond? Right? If you react, it means you haven't really forgiven them and that you need to rework on yourself. Come back to working on yourself. And that's how you can recognize and learn to keep on working on yourself and learn to forgive yourself and others. Right? So empower yourself. Learn to spend more time smiling than frowning, more time praising than criticizing. It doesn't matter what other people say or do. Louise Hay says that what matters the most is what you choose to believe about yourself. What I choose to believe about myself is the most important, right? With that, I'm going to close this session, and I'll leave the floor open to everyone if you have any questions. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Shailesh sir, and thank you everyone for your patient listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jasmine. You know, incidentally, I did this whole book summary about 2 weeks ago in a program. I did the summary, and I was able to see you have covered all the topics, most of them, because this whole book is what I had summarized in 1 hour. So I still, it's all fresh in my head. So you beautifully covered all aspects properly. So thank you so much for doing this quick session on self-love. This is really, really wonderful. All that I can add to this is that now, knowing what Jasmine has just described to all of us, the mechanics of self-love and how you can do it, the need for doing it. Why do we really need to do it? Self-love is the most important activity that will help us come out of our bondage. We are all trapped in our own created bonds. We are trapped. We have trapped ourselves. To come out of it, the best way of doing is self-love. And self-love is also the beginning of the process of getting to know love in reality, the real love. The love that we have known to date is nothing compared to the real being in love. So self-love is the beginning of that journey. And that journey of being in love ultimately, becoming love ultimately, is the nirvana. So from spiritual growth perspective, this is a very, very important thing. That's why everywhere you will find people constantly tell about forgiveness. Forgiveness is again start of self-love. Once we go through forgiveness, we have opened the trap. We are starting to open, recognizing, well, where are the problems? Let me get rid of all this baggage that I don't need. I unload myself and I get the liberation, the freedom that I need for my soul's growth. And the self-love practice is so deep that it also erases stuff that we have been carrying from past lives as well. That is how powerful it is. So we've been carrying it for so many lifetimes, certain things which we haven't been able to get rid of. Those also get released through self-love process. So maybe in future we will do a detailed session where we will talk about all these things that Jasmine had to rush through today in detail. And now I have a very wonderful partner to do that, Jasmine. Yeah. So me and
Thank you
Jasmine,
so
we are
much,
going
sir.
to do it. Yes.
Yes, sir.
We will do a weekend session, maybe on a weekend or something. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Any questions, anything you would like to ask on this topic, or anything else you want to ask, please go ahead. I want to apologize that this, I don't know, so for some reason, my streaming was delayed today. So we have not been able to capture the a good part of meditation, that session today. But yeah, this whole part is all covered in our, it's captured in the live stream. So it will be available to all of us for later listening to. Any questions, anything you want to, any experience sharing also, you are welcome to do that. Yes, Chepnur.
Sir,
Yeah.
sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Japtu.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening, masters. I want to share one experience of mine. Like as Jasmine was telling, like gradually in the meditation, if you do not like a person, uh, in a consistent meditation practice, you are uh, getting more about the positivities of the others. You are focusing on the positive aspects rather than just criticizing them. So it was also like I have also experienced the same example. Like before coming to Canada, I met the person I met the person with whom I was not talking for minimum or like 1 year, and like he also was not talking to me, but he was my neighbor and all that. So like all the misunderstanding was clear, and we really like met each other in a very happy way. So it was like a beautiful miracle, you can say, of meditation.
Yeah. You basically opened the bond that you had created on yourself, right? So those limiting things, as part of self-love, we release those things. Letting go is a very important part. So letting go helps us with forgiveness and become free from those things which are unnecessarily tying us down. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Someone else also wanted to say something. Was that Amrita ji?
Yes, that was
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just wanted to add on that since we were talking about such a beautiful topic about self-love, and like Japnoor mentioned that he has experienced those changes in himself. So I think we can pretty much conclude that meditation is also one of the biggest forms of self-love.
Yes.
So if we practice meditation, it is practicing self-love as well, because that contributes us into a positive mindset in so many ways. It improves our, reduces our negative thought patterns and introduces a lot of positive
Yes.
thoughts into us.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
yeah,
Perfect.
that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you for adding this thing on. Meditation is the process of meeting ourselves, right? Otherwise, we never go and meet ourselves. This is the only time when we sit and meet ourselves. And when you love somebody, what is it that is expected between the two people? Meet each other, right? So this is self-love only. Meditation is self-love, because now you meet, then you begin to develop what you call liking for the person, and then you begin a relationship, and then you start loving. So meditation is that process. You begin to meet yourself, find time for yourself, know yourself, and then develop liking for yourself, and then love yourself. That relationship happens through meditation. That's how wonderful meditation is. So thank you, Amrita ji. Beautifully. Yes. Okay. Anything else? Otherwise, we can bring the session to a close. Today, we've gone a little bit longer, but thank you so much for your patience. You guys all have a wonderful night. Jaspreet ji, you want to say something?
I just wanted to say thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, masters. Thank you, everyone. We'll get together tomorrow again. Yeah. Thank you.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kunjal ji. Thank you.